This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I wanted to make this video in hopes that I can help you, the listener, have at least another video that you can share with others to point out really what's going on. If you're new to the channel or you're just stumbling upon this video, before I get into the March for Our Lives and what's happening and what's going to end up happening from this and what their second plan is with this and what seed planting they have going on right now that not many people are talking about, it's important for you to understand that you have been manipulated. You have been lied to your entire life. When you're born, think of your brain, close your eyes. It's like an empty computer. And all the data that was put into your brain, that was stored in your brain, or was stored in your memory card, was nothing but lies, programming like antiviruses, or viruses, I should say. Viruses put in your memory bank. And they've been programming all of us with a fake history of the world, with lies about evolution. And the truth of the matter is they have convinced the masses out there that Satan doesn't exist, that God doesn't exist, that Jesus Christ doesn't exist. They've made a mockery of him while getting across all of these satanic tenets and satanic agendas and protocols that they've had in place for a very long time, going back to the Tower of Babel. Now, it's important to understand that the people in power, in Congress, the heads of businesses, musicians, CEOs of these corporations, these record labels, actors, actresses, are all part of inbreeding bloodlines. They are all connected to one another. That doesn't mean there can't be somebody from the outside who comes in, who makes a sacrifice to get in. But human sacrifice has been going on for, as far as we know, 2,000 years. And it's just been the last 250 years that this stuff has been hidden, that this stuff has been done in secrecy so these people would not be caught doing what they do. And what they do in the core of these Satanist belief system is human sacrifice and pedophilia. That is the core of what they do. The statistics you won't hear on the news is how many children go missing every year in a world where there's a camera on every street corner, where there's a tracking device in every car and every kid has a cell phone so he can be tracked. Millions of children go missing every year. And the only statistics they'll give you is that they're trafficked to third world countries to make shoes or to be slave labor workers. They don't talk about pedophilia. They don't talk about how the elites buy and sell these children and then kill them after molesting them in human sacrifice rituals. Now, I know that sounds insane for you to grasp, but what's been going on is only going to get worse. And the March for Our Lives is the beginning of that, because it's the beginning of the stripping of our constitutional rights. Now, I know everybody who's seeing this stuff is only thinking about gun control and the gun grab. And that's understandable because that's all they're talking about. But there's an underlying message to all of this. And that is what I've been saying since I started my channel. And loyal subscribers of this channel know I've been saying it. And now we're seeing it. And that is, they are taking children and they've been planting seeds in our heads through television programs that feature children, shows that feature kids acting like adults and adults acting like kids, through reality shows that have kids who are as young as 7 years old cooking steak dinners and acting more adult than adults. This has all been done to subliminally program you, to prepare you, because the Satanists and the occultists want everyone to live in their upside down world. Okay? Just like Stranger Things, the upside down. That is what this world is becoming. Everything has been inverted and flipped because that's what Satanists do. They read the Bible backwards. They look at God in the Bible as evil. They detest Jesus Christ. They probably know the Bible better than most people because they live to defy all of God's laws and all of God's commandments. That's what they live for, and that's what they do. And their goal is to get everybody on board with that. Now, What you're seeing with the March for Our Lives is going to lead up to this voting campaign or whatever, the vote in November. It's important to understand that you do not live in a republic. You live in a fixed system, a system where they select people. They select people way in advance through their Masonic lodges, their secret societies. All of these people are members of secret societies, different covens, different cults. There's many of them, but they're all part of the same brotherhood, the brotherhood that worships Lucifer. And these people are selected in advance. They want you to think it's a republic. This march is going to lead to November elections, and it's going to end up where the people who are selected but were told or voted in are going to remove a lot of the gun rights in the Second Amendment. A lot of it. They want semi-automatics and all this other crap that you keep hearing them spew, right? It's going to happen because it's not an election, it's a selection. But what's going to come from that is more of what you're going to see in the next 6 months, the build up to it, and how these marches that are going to keep going on, how these children who have been chosen, who are members of secret societies, DeMolay, Rainbow Girls, Job's Daughters, how they're the faces of this movement, and how these kids are acting more mature than adults, and how they have changed the world. Because when this happens in November, all the media is going to do is beat it into people's heads that these kids, that the youth have changed the world for the better. And what that will lead to is the subliminal programming that you've already seen go on, where they're going to lower the age of consent, where they're going to say that a 10-year-old, look what kids can do. They can change the world. They got all these congressmen out. They're going to give us fake statistics about how, wow, it used to be 20% of 18 to 30-year-olds voted. Now it's 70% thanks to these kids and giving everybody a voice. And the voice of the youth and the voice of the future has removed all of these awful politicians who supported the guns and the NRA. And they've put in these new people who are going to protect the kids and protect the schools. Look at the change that the children have made. Look at the change that the children have done. That is what you'll hear beaten into your head like a drum, because they're already doing it now. And then from there, because the seeds have been planted, which I'll show you in clips, the seeds have been planted for people to already accept that kids aren't kids anymore, that they're developing at a faster rate, that they're smarter than kids of the past because of technology, when in fact, this is the dumbest generation of humans that have ever existed. This, for the most part, is a godless generation. There's still some of you who listen to this channel, listen to other channels, who are followers of the King of Kings, who believe in Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, and He is. And you are in the minority, but you are the real future. You are the ones who are going to be responsible for keeping the word of Jesus Christ and passing that on to future generations if we're allowed to. We are all going to go through this. We already are. It's difficult to even look out the window. But this is the dumbest generation. But we're going to be told they're the smartest. We're going to be told that, wow, look at these 10-year-olds coming on talk shows lecturing the adults. Look at these kids on Modern Family lecturing the adults, lecturing the adults, lecturing the adults. Beaten into your head, because the key to mind control is repetition, whether you realize it's going on or not. And that's why I'm going to put a clip compilation at the end of this video so you can see how they've been doing it. From kids' pageant shows to kids rocking the runway. And instead of adults being disgusted by it, they're taking pictures and thinking it's cute that 1-year-old babies are getting dressed up and walking runways. That's how insane it's gotten, because it's been beaten into their head that it's normal and it's okay, and it's not okay. It's not okay to sexualize children, and that's what they're doing. This will lead to the consent being lowered. This will lead to worse and worse. It'll start with that, and then it'll go from there. Then it'll get down to 12 years old, 13-year-olds being able to marry 40 and 50-year-olds. You know why? Because they want this out in the open. They don't want to hide anymore. And they've already corrupted society enough that they can get away with this. Because they already are. Because we're seeing it everywhere. And that is so important for everyone to understand. They're always 10 steps ahead, always, because it's their game, not because they're smarter than us. It's their game. They're the ones with the control over the masses. Why do you think they want to restrict me, restrict other YouTubers, or anyone else out there with a platform to speak? because they have the hold over everyone, and they're seeing more people wake up because people are getting led to channels like this. But as long as they have the hold over the millions and millions, they can get them on board. You hear these kids talking about how the march wasn't even about gun control. It was about a youth movement, a youth movement, a youth movement. And the second message that's being sent, which is really the main message, because they could do a gun grab anytime they want. They're using this for two means to an end. One, to say, oh man, the kids changed the world. Adults aren't going to be able to say boo because they're going to go, well, the kids are the ones responsible. They're the ones getting shot all the time, even though these things, you know what they are. I won't say the word. And then from there, it turns into, and it spirals into the more and more of pushing of these kids on TV acting as adults, consent and all that stuff. That is what is coming. And people need to be aware. It is so disturbing to watch what's going on in today's world. It's heartbreaking. It's disturbing. But this has been going on in front of everyone's eyes. And like I said, repetition's the key. So look at these clips and tell me, oh man, there's nothing weird about adults watching kids cooking shows. There's nothing weird about adults watching kids on a runway. There's nothing weird about any of it. Are you kidding me? Nothing weird about it. Don't you see what they're doing? They're tricking you by going, oh, come on, it's so cute. It's so cute that the 3-year-old is walking the runway. And then when people like me talk about it, they go, well, that's the guy with the problem. That guy's got a problem because he's the one who's thinking that way. We're not. And everyone goes, yeah, we're not thinking like that. They don't realize what they're being programmed for. They deflect. When in reality, if people weren't under mind control, they'd say, this is sick. It's disturbing. But the core of it all is Satanism. Pedophilia is the core of it. Pedophilia. They believe that they take the energy and the power and the life force away from these children when they ritually molest them. And most cases of these molestations end with a sacrifice and a killing. But other times these children are continued to be sex slaves for these people. And it goes on and on and on. And now that they've infiltrated every force of every crevice of government, of media, look how fast it's ramped up. From trans agenda, I mean, cut me a break. People thinking that this is normal, trans is normal. A guy wearing a dress, a guy getting his penis removed. I mean, what's normal about it? It's sick. A guy would never know what it's like to be a woman. A guy could never get a period. And a woman would never know what it's like to be a man. And that's just life. That's the way God made it. But remember, they think that they're gods. They think they can change everything. And the only resistance that's left really is us. And I hate to use that term. So here for your viewing displeasure are some clips, just to put it mildly. I mean, I could have done days and days of finding clips to show you how all of these things that we're supposed to think are normal aren't normal. They're sick. And they use celebrities, to push, oh, look at the kid's so cute. Let's dress the kid up in a bikini and have him walk around. Let's have Kim Kardashian making lingerie for kids. And nobody says boo because this generation is completely asleep. And we need to change that. I thank you for listening. Take a look.
What do you think you accomplished?
I think the best thing to come out of the march was the fact that while it was important to stand for what we believe in, and it was important that the people have come together on this unified front, I think that the fact that young people everywhere were taking initiative, standing up and leading in their communities showed that we've learned that our voices matter.
I believe that the strongest thing that we have going for us at this time is the fact that this is a youth movement. This is led by the youth, and it is led for the youth. And if we can encourage these people to take action, to be participating in our society, in our politics, then that's going to encourage our voters to actually turn out.
And I do want to say that those young people are just extraordinary. I mean, you've had now a year adults acting like children, and now the children acting like adults and trying to get something done.
Want some coffee?
Say yes.
It's French press. I was doubtful too, but I honestly can't see myself going back to drip.
I'm so happy you don't live in a tough neighborhood anymore.
I want to tell Brenda film and I love her.
Oh, for God's sake.
Honey, she's 16. Oh, it's okay for you to take an auto lover?
Hey, watch it.
What does it matter, Claire?
What?
You seem sad.
It's just stuff with Alex, you know, kid stuff.
Ugh, kids. You don't have to tell me. Our school is full of them.
Alex and I can't just disagree. I mean, she has to turn everything into a fight.
A strong, independent woman. Sounds like somebody else I know.
I was never hostile, though. I mean, this whole thing with the dress, never had this problem with Haley.
Maybe Alex doesn't want to compete with her big sister. Maybe she's trying to create her own identity. Put her in a dress and she disappears.
For one afternoon.
I wouldn't give up being myself for even 1 second.
Sometimes it's hard to remember you're only 10 years old.
Just a few hours, hundreds of thousands of people will take to the streets, the majority of them kids.
Many of them aren't even old enough to vote, Chanel. Some of them are not even old enough to drive. But none of that is stopping them from making their voices heard. And as this country's history has shown before, those voices can be very powerful. But in the wake of Parkland and yet another school shooting this week, they fought back, refusing to accept that this is just the way things are.
We're 17 lives too late, so we have to do something now.
With the power of these children.
The march that we're creating is a visual representation of how many people are here and with us for the change. Politicians have tried to endorse us, but we're here to say, you guys can support us all you want, but we're in this for ourselves.
You know, one of the things that continues to be striking is just how organized these young people have been in the wake of the shooting. Of course, we saw those walkouts across the country just a few weeks ago. But a lot of this is really grassroots motivated. I mean, these aren't kids who are having this dictated to them from the top down. These are kids who have gotten together and have created quite the groundswell in this country.
The next case I worked of a major consequence was the McMartin preschool case in Manhattan Beach, California. The children there claimed there were tunnels under the school. They were taken into the tunnels and through the tunnels up into the trap door of a bathroom in a triplex next door, placed in automobiles and prostituted in the community. These are 2, 3, and 4-year-old children before they entered kindergarten. In addition, the children claimed that they were flown into the mountains where they were involved with adults in robes, black robes, chanting, candles. They talked about the brown babies who were cut up, actually sacrificed. And in checking into this and researching this, of course, this was obviously a satanic ceremony.
Little understood until now. And in 1984, we consider that the lycanthropic revolution began. And since that date, we have summoned up the dark forces in man. We're summoning up the wolf in man. And we're calling on everything that has been forbidden, everything that has been locked up and restrained. And our work is designed to unleash the beast in man once and for all.
What's the final objective then once you unleash the beast in man?
Well, we don't have a linear objective that we could explain to you in a way that you could simply understand. But certainly, our quest is for world domination. In the simplest terms, our quest is for power for its own sake, power used to the extreme as it has never been used before. We both individually had this quest, and then we bonded together, and the power increased. And we find the more people that become involved, the power increases, and it gets to be a larger and larger phenomena. As you saw tonight, there are masses of people who are being drawn to this. For the first time, they're coming out of the closet. They've always been around. It's always been the same small percentage. But they're coming out of the closet now, and they're exposing themselves, and they've always been more powerful than the immortal. We separate the human race into two species, predator and prey. And that is why we've chosen the wolf imagery as our standard and our symbol. And the rest of humanity is really of very little concern to us. Our main purpose is to create an elite, a power base of masters who will finally remove the excrement of Christianity, Judaism, Mohammedanism, all of the traditional slave religions, as Nietzsche called them, and we mean to destroy them by any possible means. This is the first phase in a revolution that will continue into the 21st century. It's, by some people's standards, a demonic revolution, but it is the liberation of the finest things in man: beauty, strength, wisdom, and everything that has been perhaps condemned as the black arts, as evil.